Archangel Michael's Service by Ascended Master Elmora, September 15th, 1960. Of the 7 beloved archangels who are messengers of God, perhaps the best known and loved is Lord of the Archangels, Prince Michael. Countless prayers to him, with their attendant and immediate response, have drawn him close to the peoples of earth. Golden of hair, with magnificent blue eyes, and an appearance of splendor, confidence, and faith in God, Lord Michael has responded so often to the requirement of peoples upon the earth who are caught up in the distresses of the soul, mind, and body. He, of his own free will, at the very beginning of mankind's embodiment on earth, chose to become the guardian of faith of the man in his God. His presence, or that of one of the celestial helpers, who are among the legions sweeping earth to give assistance to anyone in distress. His focus of light, his shining temple, pulsates in the etheric realm in the Canadian Rockies. Here, many who are aware of this focus come for the renewal of their faith in God and find renewed encouragement to serve their fellow men upon earth. Once, long ago, as is told in the Bible, the earth was pure and its people innocent. They dwelt in the Garden of Eden and enjoyed the beauty, perfection, and reward which God had created for them. And God looked upon his creation and said, "It is good." Mankind, endowed the gift of free will, chose to experiment with the use of life, disobeying the law of God, and evil came forth from their minds, feelings, spoken words, and actions. This is called by many the fall of man. When the fall of men took place, Lord Michael, seeing the trivial and soul agony which would result from such disobedience of God's law of harmony, began to prepare for his long and loving service to God's disobedient children. His fashioned out his own thought and magnificent sword of blue flame. He dwelt around himself legions of the angelic hosts to assist him, and he offered God's services until the last of mankind is redeemed and his sins are expedited and he is returned to the God estate. God, in his infinite mercy, accepted the kinds of service of Lord Michael and his helpers, and ever since, beloved Michael and his angels have been serving mankind, imprisoned angels, the elemental kingdom, and every living thing, with but one thought in mind: preservation of the spiritual light in the soul and restoration of the desire for obedience of God's law of harmony on earth and in its atmosphere. By the bedside of a sick person, in the homes of those who suffer, in the great institutions where illness of mind and body are treated, there are always present the legions of Lord Michael, helping to cut away the invisible cause and core of distress, so that the soul may find freedom and happiness in God's service. At many religious services, where the actual recognition of Lord Michael is given, his radiant presence pours down a shower of faith and love and protection upon the communities. The mere speaking of his name draws his attention towards you and his help into your world. When people pass from this earth life, they are often deeply enmeshed in discord as when they lived in the earthly body. Lord Michael, with his own hands and flashing sword of blue flame, cuts the bands that bind these so-called deceased peoples to the loved ones of earth and allows the soul to rise to the throne of the Father and Mother. In many homes where distress and discord and impurity have been emanated by the inhabitants for sometimes centuries, The invocation of Lord Michael and his helpers will free those home of all past impurity and allow the present inhabitants to enjoy the home, to enjoy the beauty of the present rather than the heavy, depressing atmosphere of the past. The secret thoughts, feelings, and actions of mankind, as well as their rebellious outer expressions of discord, have created a blanket of disoriented, qualified energy around the earth. This is called the psychic or astral realm. Within it dwelt many invisible spirits and elementals who prey upon the greediest minds of those people of earth seeking to know the truth about their loved ones who have passed through the veil called death, or who are seeking to pierce the hidden mysteries of life beyond the veil. His shining presence will and does come to anyone so temporarily caught in the psychic realm, and deliverance is immediate and permanent. All those who are caught in the habits of dope addiction, alcoholism, and various other deprivations of flesh have an instant deliverer in the Lord Michael if they will invite him to help them. Sometimes the individual, so-called in psychic conditions, does not want help. It is the privilege of those who know the Lord Michael to call him on their behalf, and he will answer them. This call, prayer, need not be made aloud, nor even in the presence of individuals requiring assistance. For the very mention of the deliverance sets up the resistance in the conscience of the one who so needs aid. Wisdom and discrimination upon the part of those who see the need and desire for the help of Lord Michael for themselves and others will help them make such a call silently and audibly when they are alone. Thus, the resistance of the outer mind, which is a substance heavily charged with the rebellion, is avoided. Words cannot express the manifold services of the great Prince Lord Michael and his divine helpers, but invocation of his heavenly presence and aid for all those invoke him into their own worlds or that of their loved ones will prove his reality and power to give such assistance. Remember, because an individual has passed through the change called death, he or she is also in need of prayer. Make a personal friend of Lord Michael. Opportunity will present itself to you every day as you see distress and limitations about you. Thus you will truly become one with the helpers of this selflessness by inviting his assistance and freeing all life everywhere from discord, disease, limitation, and distress. There is the focus of the beloved Archangel Michael in the etheric realms over Central Europe as well as the Canadian Rockies. Archangel Michael's Sword of the Blue Flame by Ascended Master Almora, September 29th of 1958. The beloved Lord Michael, Prince of the Archangels, has voluntarily served all imprisoned life on earth, in its surface and in its atmosphere, ever since the veil of Maya was spun out of the outer consciousness of mankind. When the Lagardes from the other stars and planets were first destined to use Earth as a planetary home, Lord Michael wisely began his preparation for defending the faith in God's holy will through all the souls who belong to Earth's evolutions. Seeing the seeds of rebellion, discord, and discontent in the consciousness of those, which made it impossible for them to evolve in their own stars and planets. Lord Michael knew that the spawn of such seeds of imperfection would find temporary root in the consciousness of other life streams who had until that time only known the goodness of God and who had lovingly, graciously, and reverently obeyed his holy will, thus sustaining the atmosphere of earth in the state of purity and grace. Lord Michael then created his glorious sword of blue flame and has used it ever since to cut away the discordant human creations which through contagion the mankind of earth accepted into their own consciousness and later externalized into the atmosphere about them. Lord Michael, together with his limitless legions of angels, has constantly watched over every opportunity to set individuals free from any type of limitation and distress. In his own arms he has carried many of the weary soul who have passed through the change called death into the sleeper's realm, and placed such one gently upon the couch under the supervision of his own legions, who guard that soul until it is time for such one to awaken and enter the halls of karma for judgment as to his or her use of the life in the past embodiment. Lord Michael then accompanied that soul to the halls of karma, giving his courage, strength, love, and light, so that the soul would be strong enough to present the Lord record of his own book, the Book of Life, for an embodiment in which oftentimes opportunities were great, but use of such opportunities for the blessings of the race were embarrassingly few. After a year long, the services of Lord Michael and his legions of angels continues, with but one purpose, to set imprisoned life free. Multiple this by the centuries of life which have passed since first the veil of Maya was created between the Ascended Master's realm and the human octave, and you will understand why at last one day and each year is given to the commemoration of his services and gratitude for his presence in the universe. Of course, cellists conscious of his service honor him every day. However, the entire world chooses to give him recognition on September 29th of each year. The silent watchers and ceremonial angels and Sephram and Cherub gather all the prayer force of devotion given to him on this day, and as the harvest of the angels is brought to him at the end of the month. He has a great deal of consecrated energy at his command. Michael uses this energy to continue his service of protection of the souls of men, dissolving of humanly created entities, and the injection through his own beautiful presence of faith and goodness and ultimate victory of God through every live stream who is in the past, does now in the presence, or will in the future use the earth as a schoolroom. As the new era of the Ascended Master Saint Germain requires the consciousness, loving cooperation among the angelic kingdom, the human kingdom, and the elemental kingdom, Lord Michael and his helpers are serving with even greater enthusiasm and devotion to this cause now. To those interested in the liberation of all imprisoned life, we heartily recommend that you apply to the beloved Archangel Michael for assistance, and in doing so, become empowered with him on earth. Faith is an actual substance of what you desire. By the cosmic being, faith, Divine Union of Michael, July 1959. Even the most discerning and contemplative student has not tied into the fragmentary part of my nature and capacity to draw forth manifestation. Without raw materials such as coal, iron, timber, such as wool, silk, and fur, you could not have a manifestation of a particular third-dimensional form which have blessed mankind in the essential requirements of life, the comforts and luxuries. When the student receives the divine idea from the I Am Presence, the blueprint of some desire or design or form by which to enrich or beautify life, his own or the universal, there must be provided the substance and raw material from whence according to the efficiency of his designing facilities, the finished product will ensue. We come then to the time-worn statement, which has been glossed over by the thinking mind for centuries. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The desire and design released to the intellectual consciousness from the presence represents the thing hoped for. We see then that faith is a raw material, is the actual substance, which is emanating from the life stream working upon the manifestation through cooperation of my cosmic ray, and that is a substance that becomes the electronic force that fills the thought and feeling form. Saint Germain, in his endeavors to impress upon the mind of the student this point, defined faith thus: faith is a conquering, emanating power. The word emanation signifies radiate forth from the center. The two phrases, when joined, give tremendous blessing in precipitation, namely, faith is a substance that emanates from the center, and the substance thus emanates becomes the evidence or manifestation of an idea not seen. I marvel that mankind so long has prattled about faith without realizing its pliability, its tangibility, and its moldability. Its essential presence for manifestation can ensue. How, we will say, does faith emanate from the timid outer self? By correlating the mind with the realization that the divine idea comes from God and presses through the intellectual consciousness as a message from the Father or the Son, that more beauty in God's design by the Son's hand in the world. Then, by a disabusing the human's consciousness again and again and again of undue responsibility and unconscious arrogance as being the doer and doing the deed, we then have a mind consciousness accepting the desire of the Father into the mental body. We must then turn to the faith nature of the power of the presence as only power that can act. And this self-surrender begins the radiation of faith, which is a release of substance from the presence, which puts at ease the outer self and draws, coalesces, and precipitates the electronic light, which will form the clothing of manifestation. The love of the outer self for the presence allows the conquering emanating power from the presence, which becomes the qualified known as faith, to flow through the individual. Of course, when one is acquainted with myself as a definite, intelligent God focus of this quality, you can couple your invocation with me, with your devotion to the presence, and the faith of my cosmic ray will flow forth freely. The Magnetic Power of Faith in God by Archangel Michael. I am so eager for you to unfold the natural talents and capacities of your life stream. Once you look upon the living colors and make up your casual body and see the tremendous stored up energies that wait your release through consciousness, you will be greatly encouraged these glorious momentums as yours to use at any moment when you are able to accept their reality as a part of your divine heritage. I shall, through the love of my own heart, for your great spirits, make you feel the love of the angelic host, not only for you, but through you, to all life everywhere. When the veil of Maya first began to unfold from the consciousness of the mankind of earth, it was like a wisp of smoke soon dissipated by the strong currents of faith and hope. Only to those of us who know the power of contagion did it passage a future menace to the souls of men evolving upon the earth. It has been no easy thing to witness that ever-increasing fog that finally shut away the visible presence of the angelic heavenly host and the music of the spheres, leaving the outer consciousness of mankind, groping in the darkness of confusion which results from thoughts and feelings of the mass of mankind. It was when this first contamination of its innocence began that I offered to become the protector of the soul light in the hearts of men, the defender of the faith that keeps the spirit moving onward despite the appearances that seem to prevail. Century after century have I woven the energies of my life into fanning the fires of hope in the breast of evolving race, cutting away the weakness of the outer self, and believing with all the energy and momentum of my being in the goodness inherent in every man. In the full freedom which I enjoy, I am enabled to watch the soul light within the heart of this entire evolution, as well as in angelic, devic, and elemental kingdoms, and where the higher light dims and shadows encroach upon the happiness of the heart, I am there instantly. Without vision, the people perish, but I say also, without faith, they cannot survive to the eternal day when the cosmic angel of the new dawn draws back the remaining curtain of Maya, and all men see the kingdom as they do now exist, as it always was, as it ever shall be, only increasing in perfection with every pulse beat. I should, like through some dear friends, to convey the faith and the power of God, which is mine to give. A man who accepts this could walk on water, could stand in the fire unharmed, could summon to the dead to rise, the blind to see, the lame to walk, because all these appearances are a result from faith conveyed through feeling into the discord image and given life by some life stream. Thus can the life be withdrawn from such an image by one who has faith that God has greater power than the arrogant outer mind which created the shadow form in the beginning. Let us arise and experiment with this faith, and let me show you what my feeling in your faith can do. Do you know that in what that involves the activity of defending the God virtue of faith in the entire evolution, angelic, human, and elemental? This is my service to life in the universe. There is a magnetic power of the heart of God itself within the quality of faith that draws to the life stream that substance, activity, manifestation, and form into which such a one invests the faith of his own life essence. Man has had faith in human beings, in systems of caste, in religious orders, in political machinations, in political nations, in mystic talisman, and in according to the nature of that which the faith of man has voluntarily vested, did the life stream reap a harvest of smile or tears. Millions of unhappy men and women have faith in the communistic doctrines promulgated by the deprived human beings, and through free will no man may deny another the power to invest his faith according to his particular choice and design. But life itself, through the long and relentless courses of the years, and centuries eventually teaches the consciousness of the power of faith, the discrimination necessary in determining wherein that faith shall be invested. Faith in God alone will bring the nature and feeling and manifestation of God into the individual world of the one so choosing to believe that in the supreme power. As this pulsation of faith is an integral part of the life of every man, every woman, every child, it became my service to guard that feeling, even though invested wrongly, that the capacity to feel faith might never die. This has been a large order, for man has experimented with the feeling of faith in his long search for happiness. Often he reaped a harvest of disappointment, bitterness, and tears. Therefore often swore to never believe or trust again. And here, from the octave of light eternal, I have always entered the scene. Better to have loved and trusted and found the object of affection lacking than not to have nurtured the capacity to trust at all. For the momentum grows even in the disillusionment, and one is capable of believing when the strong shoots of his faith are finally tied into God's own blazing heart, which makes track of flame, over which the answers of every call may ride triumphant into the hearts of the faithful one. Faith is one of the most contagious of qualities of the Godhead. Confidence in the Power of God, by Archangel Michael, July 2nd, 1956. Hail, beloved children, for the one eternal God, to you who are temporarily walking the ways of earth. I come tonight to bring you my conviction of the power of positivity, qualified energy, which is within divine true love. The expansion of this particular aspect of nature, of God, has been my service in the angelic kingdom for many, many ages. With the help of the one supreme source of all life, I have developed the quality and feeling of God confidence in positivity, qualified energy. This is my developed within myself. In the angelic kingdom, and in some few among mankind, who have chosen from time to time to give their attention to me, and have chosen to invoke my presence and protect power in, through and around themselves, and their loved ones here embodied, as well as around their loved ones who have passed through so-called death. Think you not that it takes a tremendous capacity of divine love for an entire evolution, for me to be willing to stay here for the service in the astral realm 20 hours out of every 24 by earthly count, which I have been doing for quite some time? Think you not that it must take a tremendous amount of divine love for imprisoned angels, mankind, and elemental life, for the legions of Lord Michael to come and remain with me in such service? Think you not that there has been to be a very great power of positively qualified energy within that love, for us to be able to focus in on it, through and around a soul whose human creation, of course, of its own making, is so heavily that the soul itself is practically inert and cannot even arise by itself to enter the halls of karma, there to receive its assignment from the karmic board and go to some specific schoolroom on instruction between embodiments. Sometimes, too, a soul is so rebellious against thought and God that it absolutely refuses to comply with the divine edict and the law of the universal which governs those who have passed on. Think you not that it must take a tremendous drive of energy, qualified with the full power of divine love, and disrespected and directed one pointedly to set that soul free from as much as possible of the discordant accumulation? Think you not that it must take a great deal of positive energy, qualified within the power of divine love, for us to be able to assist those life streams for whom some of you have chosen to pray in specific liberation services, after they have passed through the veil called death? Many, many times at inner levels, with my own hands of pure light, have I stripped from the inner bodies of your relatives and friends for whom you have called, those for whom I pledge to you my assistance because of your faithful service to our cause for so long, promising you that these would never have to embody here again, but could finish their course at inner levels and make the ascension from there, stripping them emotionally, mentally, and etherically as much destructively qualified energy as the mercy of the great law would allow, so that they could make the best possible showing before the karmic board. Do you know that some of them I actually had to push into the river of the violet fire, persuading them to remain within it until the substance of humanly qualified energy around them was transmuted? Many such a one have I helped in this manner, radiating the faith, confidence, and power of my conviction in the goodness of God. Much later enabled that soul to walk down the long corridor of the royal Teton, finding the council chamber which had been alluded to the country of birth, and where they waited to turn the invitation to appear before the karmic board. I tell you, those halls of karma are rather forbidding looking place to those whose consciousness know of wrongs done by them on earth. Having given them the strength of my own faith and merciful forgiveness of Almighty God, I have accompanied them to the halls of karma and stood by their side as they appeared before the august body. There I continued a positive radiation of my love and my conviction and self-confidence, that feeling of, you can do it, for God is with you. That is the vibratory action of faith, which is representative to our kingdom, particularly of those who serve us on the first ray. This is the vibratory action which is directed by the legions into the feeling worlds of unascended beings, who seem to be in great distress and, at least temporarily, have lost hope. Some of them seem to have lost all faith in God Himself, and to these I send my legions, telling them to give such souls, through the radiation of divine love, confidence in the power of God within them to do that which they must know must be done. These angelic protectors, standing in the auras of such souls needing assistance, can radiate the feeling of, you can do it by the power of God which is within you. Can you think a greater aspect of divine love and service? I think not. The God Quality of Faith by Archangel Michael, February 15th of 1958. I am Michael, servant of the Most High Living God, who has given me being, individualization, and opportunity to co-create in this planetary system and in other planetary systems and perfection of Himself. I am Michael, the servant of your own light, living to set imprisoned life wherever I may find it free. I am Michael, who commands the heavenly host to stay within the atmosphere of earth and perform those services under the 7 rays, which are particular aspects of those rays. I am Michael, who loves the God that made you, who loves the angelic hosts that serve with me, and who love you, my children, all upon this planet Earth, and all that belong to this evolution. I am Michael, who offered to come to my own free will to guard and guide and protect the destiny of all individuals belonging to the planet Earth. I am Michael, who accepted the greater responsibility when the Earth became a schoolroom for lazies of other systems and worlds to protect the faith within the hearts of men from the every discordant appearance, and I remain until the Earth's evolution is completely redeemed, until every imprisoned angel, every one of mankind, every elemental, and every living thing knows full freedom. For such is my love for God, such is the motivating power of my being that service to me is the only reason for being. That service is now and always will be to return to God in pure perfection, that part of life which through free will chosen temporarily the paths that lead the discord and distress. It has been my joy, my privilege, my honor through many, many ages to have guarded the divine spark, which is the clothing of the Holy Christ flame, of the people who have used the earth as a schoolroom, and to protect the spark, breathing upon it my own faith, my own love and light, sustaining that spirit spark within the soul so that individuals would not pass through the second death. It is my endeavor now to expand that beautiful flame within your hearts through the encouragement and the pressure of all angels, beings, and powers of the temple of faith, as well as my own conviction and feeling of the power of faith in the goodness of God. There is no consciousness, intelligence. There is no self-conscious intelligence that does not have faith, but it is where one places his faith through his own attention, through the own use of his free will, which determines what shall act in his world and his affairs. I am determined, as the quality of faith in every part of my own life stream, to disconnect the faith that mankind has placed in the discordant and limited appearances to the consciously connect the faith of every life stream, whether they are an embodiment to come here in the future, the power of God Almighty as the ultimate redeeming, restoring, and gracious Father, their own I am presence. Beloved one, faith is rendering, and it has a tender feeling. True faith is one of the graces. You think of it in terms of power because I, myself, wield such power on the first ray, but I want you to think of faith in terms of grace for a moment. That wonderful, tender faith in the power of the God that made you, the immortal threefold flame within your heart that keeps your physical body alive, as well as those of us who represent the great brotherhood to assist in the redemption of the evolution of this earth. I ask for your faith, given on to you to place where you want. As a friend from the temple of faith, I reach forth my hand to you, and I ask you for your faith that the power of the Elohim and the archangels and the mighty Chohans is greater than any and every human limiting experience. If I could have a dozen life streams whose faith was given consciously to me and not withdrawn again at the first initiation of distress in the outer world through the power of my contention, that faith could bring radiation through the entire human race. Your faith is a tender, beautiful feeling. It uses a gift of free will, which I ask you to give me, and I, in return, will give you the fully gathered cosmic momentum of all of my faith, gathered through experiences wherein I have seen discordant vibrations changed into harmonious ones, by the use of the power of God's life. Is that a fair exchange? You give me your faith, and I give you mine. Sometimes your faith in all power of God, the universal I Am Presence, does not waver. Make it a practice in such times of extremity to stop when fear and distress arise in your feelings, to consciously offer to you my faith. Back to the very beam of your energy will flow my power of the cosmic faith in God's goodness for you and to you. Beloved ones, the expansion of the faith through the student body and the powers of the sacred fire will be determined by faith of the student body and those powers. It is my opportunity during the 30-day period, February 15th to March 15th in 1958, to help you who are the heart of faith to strengthen your faith in the powers that are good, that are lasting, that are enduring. And this could be a mental practice done without external expression, without even a word being spoken, by raising your faith towards me and towards God Himself. As you repeatedly do that, it becomes easier and easier for you to sustain that faith, and over the ray of that ray subsustained will come to the works well done. I know, for when I have endeavored to render the service of cutting the souls free from the tremendous accumulations brought by the sickness from the outer stars, that I had to be anchored in the faith that no matter how much accumulation that they had brought, yet one day would every one of these individuals, as well as those belonging to Earth's evolution, be redeemed. I promised the Almighty God that I would stay with this earth and its evolution until such redemption is completed, every electron shining with light, every elemental and every angel free of the bonds of mortality, every human being in divine, dignified manifestation of their own Christhood, while walking the planet Earth, returning the star to the beauty and the perfection which she knew before such temporarily contamination occurred. Remember that the terms outward and downward is, so far as description of spirituality is concerned, are not really correct. The acceleration of the vibratory action of consciousness right where you are is really more accurate. Therefore, beloved ones, heaven is not upward, insofar as a particular line is concerned, nor would so-called hell be downward, so far as a perpendicular line is concerned. It is rather a differentiation in the speed of vibrations of the electrons, and because you denote a higher frequency, you think naturally that it is somewhere placed upward, while a lower frequency you think being downward. When you can get this scientific law clarified in your consciousness, it will bring you into a practical reality of the statement of the beloved Ascended Master Jesus that the kingdom of heaven is not only at hand, it is actually interpenetrating the strata in which mankind abides. The lower vibratory action of the physical, mental, etheric, and emotional bodies of most of the people on earth are just not recordant to their finer vibratory actions and the swiftly moving electronic pattern of the angels and the divine messengers who pass back and forth on the surface of this earth at all times. So in order for you individuals to enter into this kingdom of heaven, He does not have a chance to place. He has a change the rate of vibration of consciousness. Such a one can live in this rapid vibration, where his sight is open to the vibrations which are akin of his own, and the masters of the angels and the beings of the divine realms will be in all visible, even when he is yet unascended. But such an individual dwelling in the kingdom of heaven while here on Earth has to stand guard over the control of the speed with which the electrons which compose its various bodies are moving. That, of course, is self-mastery. You have heard many times about the aspiring to that which is above and beyond the ken of the mortal mind, but I say to you, as well as we progress in the activities of every day and era, you will come to an understanding that the eternal now is peopled with all glorious beings, interstellar visitors, the solar with the angels and the various rays. It is but the acceleration of the vibratory action of your vehicles which is required to see them, to be one with them. As you know, the earth itself is an accelerated being. That means that the very center pole of earth has to, according to divine fiat, move more rapidly. As it moves more rapidly in its orbit, every electron that makes up the substance of earth, the water, the air, will move more rapidly. The bodies of the people on earth will feel that acceleration because it passes through the earth and it naturally passes through their vehicles as well. This has happened before on other planets and other stars, and individuals then did not want to accelerate the vibratory action of their vehicles. Through free will, they abandoned their stars and their planets, and as you know, the earth has become a foster parent, so to speak. At this time, there is no question of destruction, use of free will. Everyone belonging to this evolution has accelerated the vibratory action of his own vehicles and keep pace with the planet's Earth moving forward progress. This evening, the great access on Earth again begins her movement, which will cause tremendous changes. We have asked that this strengthening and straightening of the axis to be started. The 26-day period from the Temples of Faith itself was particularly active. We will try during this entire 30-day period to give every cosmic Christ protection and assistance to the water element, the air element, the earth element, and the fire element, to the cellist particularly, to those of you who represent me in the activity of protection for an entire endeavor, and then give special protection to the students and cellists all throughout the world. Beloved ones, as you know, is a great temple where I established the focus of faith after leaving the Rocky Mountain retreat, and there I abide and still abide. BANFF in Benef. We opened our ceremonies today and we had informal councils this morning. Our 4 doors were opened at the cardinal points and the compass that we had prepared the sponsors for each one of those blessed individuals who are interested in our temple. The smallest of these sponsors is 8 feet in height, and the largest is rather startling to you. It is over 18 feet tall. It seems perhaps quite a height insofar as physical bodies are concerned, but there is a certain reason for embodied the qualities of faith and protection around live streams, who are the focus and the guard of life. Here on earth, as well as the sponsors, will be gentlemen who are charged with the qualities of both faith and protection. When we had the joyous experiences at Benef, when our retreat was visible to physical sight of mankind, people came across the earth's surface to pilgrimage just to come to our temple, not even to have an audience with myself. People thought that those early golden days, that a pilgrimage to an ascended master's retreat was worth a lifetime endeavor. Sometimes people from far corners of the earth would start out when one's about 18 years of travel by boat, foot, and would not reach the retreat in question until they were 40 years of age. They spent a lifetime in a pilgrimage, eating and sleeping along the way the best that they could. Then, in their graciousness, after completing that pilgrimage, they would sometimes just bow at feet of temple steps and not even ask permission to enter. That great reverence for the ascended masters and their representatives was known in all the early eras. It was known on Atlantis. It was known in the Golden Ages. It will be known again someday on this planet Earth. In the East, of course, holy people do often spend an entire life stream in a pilgrimage, crossing many rocky mountains, many high mountain and glaciers, as hope to find a guru. And in finding one, know him to be an honest and sincere exponent of the light. Many of the pilgrims' bodies was lost in such a search. Tibet is filled with records of those who tried, and for all who have tried, so few have made it. Therefore, in the dispensation that has come to you, where you have the joys of the Ascended Master's retreats, open to you, where we, instead of you, make the joy and the journey into the presence, and give the audience of love, light, please, whoever your words can be heard, remind good people that there is an unusual dispensation. Even the beloved Master Jesus himself had to cross the Asia from Judah on foot to become one of a band of cellists who sat around his teacher. He sat among that group without anyone giving him the slightest outer recognition, and there he absorbed the essence of his message, which was to be fulfilled, and the manifestation and expression of the resurrected Christ. And then he walked all the way back to Judah again, a man among men. Beloved ones, you can rise on a thought, and on that very thought, instead of having to cross a mountain or a temple, you can walk up the steps and you can enjoy the beauty of it. You can enter into it and see the flame of faith, bathe yourselves in it, feel the essence permeating your etheric consciousness, your mental and your emotional bodies. You have the full freedom to enjoy the magnificent grounds which surround it, the pools and the fountains and the angels and the divas who are present there. The door has been opened to the heaven of kingdoms, and all of heaven's sons and daughters have said, "Welcome, welcome, welcome, children of earth, the guardian spirits. Welcome into the homes, our hearts, our experiences, and take from us the happiness which is ours to give. Take from us the virtue which is the desire to require. Live in our hearts, live in our hearts and our worlds as long as you will, and when you must return to your own orbits and homes, carry with you not only the radiation of the virtue which you are, but also the sponsor who has been trained for centuries in the conviction and power and faith and goodness of God, faith in the absolute supremacy of God wherever the holy name, I am, is spoken and discord ceases to be. I am love. I am light. I am good. Beloved ones, I say again, give me your faith, give me your faith, give me your faith. For faith is a delicate feeling. Faith misplaced does sear the etheric body and plants and mistrust in the soul. When the faith has been so misplaced, it is I who lovingly breathe upon it, soothe it, purify it, and restore it to perfection again. Ah, lovely ones, I have sincerity and motivate with faith misplaced and the tears of disillusionment which follow. That is why I say to you, faith is such a delicate and beautiful thing. For all the live streams who have used the earth for a schoolroom from the beginning of time, and who shall so for use its future, I am accepting the responsibility to purify it from the etheric bodies, the result of misplaced faith in many embodiments since the first came forth from the heart of God, removing the cause and the cord inner levels of all trust and distrust and suspicion, all fear and all doubt, and giving each one back and shining, blazing armor of faith in God and His goodness now this night. I speak to you with this power into the emotional, mental, etheric, and physical consciousness of all life. Even the animal kingdom has faith. A dog, a cat, a horse has faith in one who feeds and serves him. That faith, too, will one day raise that imprisoned energy into full expressions as the elemental of beauty, and that faith, too, has been abused by many live streams who have taken undue advantage and the animal kingdom and then slaughtered through the carnal purposes. Beloved Sanat Kumara again holds the cosmic rod of power and has come to the temple of faith in the capacity of regent during this activity. Tonight, beloved Gautama continues his activity and service, radiated in divine love, which he represents the other archangels, and bring the powers of light and course are gathered, and we have made the amphitheater this time world enfolding, so that every bit of light remains on earth within the people or upon it to feel this essence. I like the phrase the world unfolding as I seal and contemplate your fiats, because more of it is positive affirmations than engulfing, which again denotes distress. So we have a world enfolding amphitheater into which all members of the former compound, all dwellers in the sleepers' realms, all discordants, all cellists gather, and the activities of the 30-day period, I promise you, will be ones that you will remember, I hope, in happiness. In order to join with me, my company, and assist in drawing the magnetic power of that faith in the goodness of God through the flame on the altar of my temple, I shall find to bide and bid you temporarily adieu, just asking you once more to remember that faith is delicate and a beautiful thing, and that I ask that you give me yours, and I will give you mine.